Yo, what's good, family? It's your boy Expert Genius, aka XP, back at it again. Getting back on this UKAD and British boxing. What is that? Yeah, British boxing board of controls and this Dillian Whyte situation, and how all of this is just a complete mess over there in the UK. As y'all all aware, sorry for all the movement, but as y'all all aware, Dillian Whyte popped dirty for one or more substances, well, banned substances, 3 days before the Oscar Rivas fight. And UKAD informed the British Boxing Board of Controls, Dillian Whyte's team, and Eddie Hearn of this failed test, but not one of them informed Oscar Rivas' team or the WBC, which to me is grounds alone for Dillian Whyte to be stripped of the WBC Silver Championship, his interim title he just got, and his #1 ranking. This BBBC thing is out of control. They have a policy which, if a fighter tests positive for a banned substance, they will allow him to fight, and they won't do anything, won't do any sanctionings until the B sample comes back. The B sample can take anywhere from 24 hours to 48 hours to come back, but they can drag the whole litigation process out for a year, which is ridiculous. What if that was Oscar Rivas that died this weekend? Who would be at fault? I say they all should be at fault. Dillian Whyte, Eddie Hearn, the British Boxing Board of Controls, UKAD, because they all knew about this and they didn't inform nobody. This is the same thing that happened with Tyson Fury and his cousin in early 2015 before the fight with Vladimir Klitschko, when Tyson Fury tested positive for nandrolone. And I know most of y'all well, that's nandrolone and that was months before the fight. You can't say that. I can. Because what you don't know is nandrolone, I got it written down right here. Nandrolone is added to testosterone cycles, improves your recovery time to a significant degree. This means not only are you going to recover more quickly, but you will be able to hit your next session at the gym that much harder. So this is a benefit, and just think about it. Tyson Fury, Billy Joe Saunders, and I forgot what the other fighter's name was. Everybody that's been associated with that camp has all tested positive for a banned substance. And I don't think it was just Billy Joe Saunders who was on oxyfrin. I think Tyson Fury is also on oxyfrin. And for those of y'all who don't know what oxyfrin is or what it does, oxyfrin increases adrenaline production, boosts endurance, focus, alertness, and heart rate, and increases oxygenation of the blood. This is why Billy Joe Saunders looked good in his last fight before popping dirty for this. And we all know Dillian Whyte got popped dirty in 2012 and had a 2-year ban for, what's this? Methohexamine, which is an energy booster. Used as what? It was developed in 1944 and was banned in 1983, but it was used as a nasal spray or something like that. Come on, man. Come on. The British Boxing Board of Controls and UKAD need to be held accountable for this, and they need to be investigated. They need to change their rules, because there is no way a fighter that tests positive for a banned substance should be allowed to fight. That fight should have been canceled. And if y'all want to talk about this B sample thing, y'all don't want to do anything until the B sample thing come out. Y'all should have canceled the fight and rescheduled it after the B sample came out to clear a fighter if the B sample came back clean. Which I think they're going to try and do everything in their power to make sure Dillian Whyte's B sample come back clean. Because it don't make no sense for you to be notified 3 days before the fight and don't say nothing to your opponent and don't say nothing to the sanctioning body in which you're fighting in. This is why Dillian Whyte didn't have that same energy about fighting Deontay Wilder after the fight. Y'all know, let's go. None of that. And let me get back on Oxyfrin for a minute. Over there in the UK, they have a strange rule for this, because I heard people say, well, it's legal in the UK. To a certain extent, it's legal in the UK. Now, it's legal when you're out of competition. You can use this anytime you want when you're out of competition. I mean, you can use this and cycle off of it, and when it's time for you to get back in competitions, you're already reaping the benefits for taking it, so it really doesn't matter. So it's legal when you're out of competition, but illegal when you're in competition. Why is it legal in the first place? Especially if you're a professional athlete. Loophole. This is how they get you. And I seen that UKAD had on their logo, UKAD, protecting sport. Who are you protecting if y'all are allowing fighters to test positive for banned substances and still allow them to fight until their B sample comes back? You're damn sure not protecting the fighter that's taking the banned substance, and you're really not protecting the fighter that's going into the fight with this person that's taking the banned substance. I have a feeling, just like I said before, this is all going to be swept under the rug, just like the Tyson Fury situation. He tested positive for nandrolone. Let me just say this. This whole mental issues and depression and taking cocaine, after the Vladimir Klitschko win, is all a lie, just to get people on his side and get the media behind him. Check this out. Tyson Fury and his cousin Hughie Fury tested positive for nandrolone in between March and February of 2015. They had a little investigation and then they dropped it. He was still allowed to fight Vladimir Klitschko in November of 15. Then after the fight, it came out, just like with Dillian Whyte, it came out after the fight that they had tested positive. Now, We all know what happened with the rematch. He claimed he twisted his ankle and the rematch had to be set back. And then when they were going to have the rematch again on September 21st and September 22nd, Tyson Fury on both of those days tested positive for cocaine. They came out with this news September 29th. On October 12th, Tyson Fury then vacates his WBA and WBO titles. And then 2 days later, October 14th, he retires from the sport, claiming mental health issues and depression. This is all a cover-up. Because you notice after this, they stopped talking about, the nandrolone and the cocaine. Now, if you look at Tyson Fury to the lead up to the Vladimir Klitschko fight, he was already acting as if he was on cocaine. Look at the stuff he was doing. This man is still on some. Look at his recent fight against Tom Schwartz. Look at him after the fight in the in-ring interview. He couldn't control his head movement. He couldn't control his mouth. I stopped listening to him talk. Every time he stopped talking, I would zoom in on him. And look at that. The guy is still on something. And ain't nobody calling it out. He's been an alcoholic. He's been on cocaine. And as y'all see, he's been using performance enhancements. And you see that it's just getting covered up and swept under the rug over there in the UK because of the BS rules the British Board of Controls, or British Boxing Board of Controls have over there. It's all ridiculous. This is why they all want to fight over there in the UK to get away with this crap. I mean, just really sit there and think about it. And it's not everybody want to say, "Oh, the drug cheats." They're pointing the finger at Anthony Joshua, but then they're getting caught. Okay, cheaters no cheats. But check this out. It wasn't just Dillian Whyte and Jarrell Miller that said Anthony Joshua was getting TUEs in the UK for testosterone. Deontay Wilder alluded to this back in 2017? This is when he said he doesn't think, I'm paraphrasing, but he just said he doesn't think Joshua is scared to fight him. He thinks Joshua is afraid of the WBC testing because it might show something. And not only that, what was that? January 18th of 2018, Joseph Parker came out and said that Anthony Joshua is the WBA and IBF king of steroids. So you have Deontay Wilder, Joseph Parker, the two drug cheats in Dillian Whyte and Jarrell Miller, all stating this about Anthony Joshua. And you know Eddie Hearn them in the UK is protecting Anthony Joshua. I mean, why you think Eddie Hearn is so adamant to get the rematch in the UK? Just think about that. Joshua already said that he wants to go back to the scene of the crime, New York, in Madison Square Garden, to, take his revenge on Andy Ruiz. But it was Eddie Hearn. Oh no, this is going to be in the UK. It's going to be in the UK. Now he's saying it's wherever Big Josh decides. And now he's saying Joshua is saying, well, whatever you want to do. That's confusion. And just think about this for a second. When you don't control the balance of your testosterone and your estrogen levels, it leaves you dazed and confused. You start getting depressed. You might even have suicidal thoughts. And you start becoming disinterested in things. Look at Anthony Joshua going into that fight with Andy Ruiz. He probably wasn't allowed to get a TUE over here in the US for testosterone. He looked disinterested, did not want to be there. He looked dazed and confused. He even asked his corner, what's happening? Why is this happening? And not only the drug stuff over there in the UK, but just think about the last big fights that's done happened over there. Carlos Takam. That fight was stopped prematurely. Anthony Joshua only landed what? 2 punches in that combo? And Carlos Takam was still defending himself and bobbing and weaving, and they stopped the fight. And then he goes on and fights Joseph Parker. And every time Joseph Parker tried to get in on the inside, the referee would break it up. Anthony Joshua was then allowed to call his own timeout when he pulled the tape off of his glove. Then you go into Joseph Parker versus Dillian Whyte, where Dillian Whyte headbutts. I think it's probably an accidental headbutt, but he headbutts Joseph Parker, but then was allowed to bully him and rough him up in front of the referee without the referee doing anything about it. And then you look at this Oscar Rivas fight, how the referee was protecting Dillian Whyte in the 12th round. But they had the nerve to talk about the United States problem with doping and coming over here and getting cheated. And look what they're doing over there. They're doing stuff to protect their fighters. Well, their top fighters. Meaning Anthony Joshua, who was the cream of the crop, and then Dillian Whyte, who was right under him. Because remember, around this time, they wasn't even talking about Tyson Fury. They didn't even care about Tyson Fury no more. Tyson Fury was an afterthought, and when he came back, he was still an afterthought. Now everybody is riding, since Anthony Joshua lost, everybody is riding Tyson Fury's jockstrap. Like I said, this is the problem with UKAD and the Triple BC. This is the problem with them. When you look at their rules and their policies, it's straight BS. Look at Povetkin. His A sample for what's that, meldonium, came back dirty. The WBC put a halt to that fight. He tested positive again for Osterine going into the fight with Bermane Stiverne to see who was going to be mandatory. They kicked him out of their rankings. This ain't like Dillian Whyte is a first-time offender. He's a repeat offender. He's already been banned 2 years back in 2012 for methamphetamine. I mean, this stuff is just getting out of hand. Like I said, we had Maxim Dervishov just lose his life this past weekend. And that was against a clean fighter. What do you think would happen if one of these fighters test positive for something and go in the ring and kill somebody? I said this last night in 2 other live streams that we need an act in honor of Maxim Dervishov. We need an act in his name that bans all drug cheats in boxing. Was not even just boxing, in all combat sports. Because you already putting your life on the line, getting in the ring or getting in the octagon with somebody. And then your how do I want to put this? Your chances of being killed in the octagon or in the ring increases when you have people like Tyson Fury, Billy Joe Saunders, Dillian Whyte, Canelo Alvarez, Jarrell Miller, James Toney tested positive for steroids, and all these other fighters that's tested positive. Your chances go up when they come in to the ring or octagon juiced to the gills. Hell, even my boy John Jones came into the octagon juiced to the gills. And I'm a fan of his, but I don't condone that mess. I don't. Why you gotta cheat? Especially if you already at the top and you already beating people without cheating. Why you gotta cheat? We need to get this out of the sport, and UKAD and the British Boxing Board of Controls and Matchroom all need to be investigated for this. They all do. Because like I said before, they didn't notify Oscar Rivas and they didn't notify the WBC. But once again, this is your boy, the Expert Genius, aka XP. Shout out to the almighty LDBC. And do me a favor, hit the like button. To even hit the dislike button if you don't like what I'm saying. Leave a comment. And everybody, until next time, have a blessed day. Your boy X is out.